Now that Shang-Chi has stepped up to take his place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's no better time to get the lowdown on the villains and rogues he's faced over the years. From mighty crime lords to international assassins, these are Shang-Chi's biggest foes. Ever since his debut in 1973's Special Marvel Edition number 15, Shang-Chi's one true archenemy has always been his evil, scheming father. In the 70s, the so-called Kung Fu craze reached America's shores. So, Marvel decided to purchase the comic book rights to Sax Rohmer's Fu Manchu novels and created Shang-Chi as his previously unknown son. Fu Manchu was the racist, xenophobic personification of Yellow Peril, the Western fear that Asian immigrants would eventually wipe out white culture around the world. Marvel used the loss of the rights to Rohmer's creations as an opportunity to establish a new backstory for Shang-Chi's father, one that attempted to distance the villain from his racist roots. Resurrected and renamed Zheng Zu in 2010's Secret Avengers number 8, the master of Kung Fu's father was now an immortal wizard who sought to conquer the world using his vast criminal cult, the Five Weapons Society. The original Zu remained Shang-Chi's biggest enemy until his first death in Master of Kung Fu number 118, though the character would make several brief returns in the years that followed. After Shang-Chi rebelled against his father, Zheng Zu sent his adopted son, the Midnight Sun, to bring him back, one way or another. The adoptive brothers clashed in Special Marvel Edition number 16, fighting a fierce battle that ultimately ended in tragedy. Midnight Sun's real name was Menai, and he was the only survivor of a British assault on his village. Wishing to cultivate the hate within him, Zheng Zu adopted the boy and raised him alongside Shang-Chi. Though the two men loved each other deeply, Midnight Sun was more loyal to his father than he was to Shang-Chi, and their duel only ended when Menai died after falling off a construction crane. Though he was killed in his first appearance, Menai would prove to be the first of many siblings who would become Shang-Chi's enemy. Originally one of Sax Rohmer's problematic Fu Manchu characters, Follow C's name was changed to Zheng Bao Yu once Marvel lost the rights. The daughter of Zheng Zu, Bao Yu, was Shang-Chi's half-sister, and although the two sought to defeat their father, they wanted to do so for completely different reasons. While Shang-Chi wanted to bring an end to Zu's criminal empire and the destruction it caused around the globe, Bao Yu wished to supplant their father and claim his empire for herself. Bao Yu debuted in 1975's Master of Kung Fu number 26, in which she butted heads with Shang-Chi for the first time. For a period, she also managed to gain control of MI6, causing Shang-Chi and his many spy allies to leave the agency and create an independent spy agency called Freelance Restorations. Introduced in 1975's giant-sized Master of Kung Fu number 4, the outsider known only as Tiger Claw approached Zheng Zu and demanded that the villain make him a Lodge Master, one of the top-ranking members of the Celestial Order of the Si-Fan, his private society of assassins. Angered by the stranger's impertinence, Zu sent 3 Si-Fan Lodge Masters to kill him, but Tiger Claw killed them instead. Convinced that he might have finally found a match for Shang-Chi, Zu allowed Tiger Claw to replace the men he had killed and become a Lodge Master himself. Zu's hopes would soon be dashed, however. Confident in large part due to his new position, the Lodge Master challenged the son of Zheng Zu to a duel. Though the fight was fierce, Tiger Claw was decisively defeated by the undisputed Master of Kung Fu. The first villain known as Razor Fist was simply an enhanced bodyguard named William Young, who worked for a crime lord named Carlton Velcro. When Shang-Chi and this first Razor Fist finally met in the field of battle, Velcro's guards accidentally shot and killed him while trying to hit Shang-Chi. Years later, Velcro decided to create 2 new Razor Fists when 2 of his men, brothers William and Douglas Scott, each lost a hand in a car accident. Unfortunately, William ultimately died in the same manner as his namesake when Velcro accidentally shot and killed him. This left Douglas Scott as the sole remaining Razor Fist. Douglas reappeared several times over the years and has even come to blows with a number of other Marvel superheroes. Knowing he would never be able to dismantle his father's vast empire on his own, Shang-Chi soon began working with MI6.
Bond. James Bond.
One of these agents was a man named Simon Brentner. After spending years working as a secret agent for MI6, Bretner began developing a dual personality named Mordillo, who quickly became one of the world's most dangerous assassins. When Shang-Chi inadvertently kept Mordillo from finishing a contract, he vowed revenge on the Kung Fu master, hatching a plot against his very own teammates. Bretner's fellow agent Leiko Wu eventually discovered his treachery and helped MI6 track Bretner to his secret island hideout, where the villain equipped his most dangerous weapon, the Death Hand, a steel gauntlet that could shoot fire and poison darts from its fingertips. Death Hand proved himself a worthy opponent for Shang-Chi, but the villain was ultimately incinerated when he accidentally leapt directly into the path of a laser weapon. Introduced in Master of Kung Fu number 42 in 1976, Lancaster Sneed adopted the name Shockwave after he used metal plates to rebuild himself in the wake of a horrific injury. In the process, he vowed revenge on those he believed were responsible for his injuries, MI6. Shockwave attacked MI6 and used his specialized armor to give even Shang-Chi a run for his money. The armor granted Sneed an incredible amount of protection, gave him a slight boost in speed, strength, and agility, and equipped him with jet-powered flight, laser cannons, and shockwave emitters. Shang-Chi later discovered that Sneed was, in fact, the nephew of his MI6 ally, Sir Dennis Nayland Smith, before defeating him for good. Zheng Zu's criminal empire wasn't built in a day. In fact, his grand celestial orders were developed over the course of centuries thanks to the long life he received by taking the Elixir of Life, also known as the Elixir Vitae. According to 2010's Shield number 4, the elixir was invented by none other than Sir Isaac Newton. Decades before that issue was released, however, the Elixir of Life was believed to have been developed by Zheng Zu's distant ancestor, Shaka Kharn. Introduced in Master of Kung Fu number 46, Zheng Zu recovered Kharn's skeleton from its tomb and used his unique mix of mystic and scientific knowledge to return his soul to his undead body. Shaka Kharn was said to be the greatest warrior who ever lived, and Zu was certain this would finally bring about the end of his son, Shang-Chi. After one of the most harrowing battles of his entire career, Shang-Chi emerged victorious, defeating his ancestor and foiling his father's plans once again. Grigory Sovchenko was introduced in 1982's Master of Kung Fu number 110. Thanks to his father's position as a high-ranking member of the KGB, Grigory was chosen to join a rare exchange program between China and Russia, during which two of the most skilled Chinese martial artists would trade places with one Russian for a period of 15 years. Ghostmaker came into conflict with Shang-Chi and MI6 during the Russian agent's attempted assassination of Queen Elizabeth II. Though usually the assured victor in any fight, Shang-Chi was shocked to discover that he couldn't beat the Ghostmaker in combat and was narrowly defeated a number of times. Eventually, Ghostmaker made a mistake, however, and accidentally doused himself in the acid he had meant to use on the Queen. A good villain rarely stays down, however, and Grigory was eventually resurrected by the Hand in 1994's Daredevil Annual number 10. With Daredevil and Shang-Chi's help, Elektra defeats the assassin by stabbing him in the head, killing him once more. One of the most visually striking villains in the trailer for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Death Dealer, appeared in only a handful of comic book issues in 1982. While Zheng Bao Yu was director of MI6, a man named Li Qinglin infiltrated the agency's ranks to serve as a double agent for Zheng Zu. Fearing Qinglin's brutality, Bao Yu hired Sir Dennis Nayland Smith and her brother Shang-Chi to take out the dangerous assassin. Shang-Chi easily bested the double agent and forced Qinglin to flee back to Zheng Zu, who outfitted him with new weapons and named him the Death Dealer. After meeting in battle on a number of occasions, Death Dealer and Shang-Chi fought one last time at Zheng Zu's castle. Still, just as outmatched as before, Death Dealer was killed by Shang-Chi in Master of Kung Fu number 118, when the hero hit the villain with a lit brazier, causing his costume to catch fire. The main villain of the Shang-Chi Master of Kung Fu miniseries, Moving Shadow, was yet another son of Zheng Zu, who sought to defeat Shang-Chi and replace him at their father's side. Introduced in the series' first issue in 2002, Moving Shadow would prove to be a challenging foe for his heroic brother. Like Shang-Chi, Moving Shadow was trained in the ways of martial arts from birth. But unlike the Master of Kung Fu, he completely embraced his father's evil ways and vowed to serve him with absolute loyalty. Ultimately, Shang-Chi once again proved himself to be the better fighter and defeated his half-brother in combat. Utterly beaten and left in disgrace, Moving Shadow returned to Zheng Zu, but the cold-blooded villain killed his son for his failure. Secret Avengers #1 introduced a new threat to the Marvel Universe: the Shadow Council, an organization formed by Confederate soldiers from the American Civil War who discovered a rift in time and space. After Steve Rogers returned from his apparent death in 2010's Captain America Reborn, he decided to form a new covert ops team of Avengers to investigate and defeat this new evil. When the Shadow Council tries to resurrect Zheng Zu, Steve Rogers approaches Shang-Chi and asks for his help. Rogers' team of Secret Avengers includes Sharon Carter, the Beast, Ant-Man, the Black Widow, Valkyrie, Moon Knight, and War Machine, and together they fight the Shadow Council and a half-dead Zheng Zu. They eventually manage to disrupt the ritual that would have fully resurrected Shang-Chi's villainous father, sending him right back to hell. Though White Dragon originally debuted in 1978's Amazing Spider-Man #184, he wouldn't battle Shang-Chi until 2014's Deadly Hands of Kung Fu #2 and 3, when an old enemy named Chao Sima approached the Master of Kung Fu and asked for his help in avenging the death of his true love. Though he initially distrusted the former villain, Shang-Chi agreed to help him, and the duo infiltrated the White Dragon's headquarters, where they discovered a secret ritual led by none other than a resurrected Midnight Sun.
What a twist.
As Midnight Sun's willing servant, the White Dragon held off Shang-Chi and Chao Sima until he killed Skullcrusher in order to complete the ritual. Chao Sima had gotten the upper hand, however, and made sure that the ceremony didn't grant Midnight Sun power, but instead resurrected his beloved Leiko, who cast Sun into the underworld. Introduced in 2020's Shang-Chi #1, one of the Master of Kung Fu's most recent villains is yet another secret sibling. Shi-Hua is Shang-Chi's younger sister, and the two were raised together until Zu separated them for trespassing in a forbidden room. Zu branded the girl's forehead and lied to her brother, implying that she had been executed in order to teach him a lesson. In reality, Shi-Hua was sent to Russia to join the Five Weapons Society's House of the Deadly Hammer, where she finished her training and adopted the title of Sister Hammer. When Zheng Zu died once again, the Five Weapons Society was left without a leader, and Sister Hammer was determined to take her father's place and lead the organization as she saw fit. Naming herself the new Supreme Commander, Shi-Hua tried to have Shang-Chi killed, but only succeeded in revealing to Shang-Chi that she is still alive. The Master of Kung Fu attempted to convince his long-lost sister to forsake their father and leave his evil ways behind. But when she refused, Shang-Chi defeated her in combat and took control of the Five Weapons Society himself, vowing to turn it into a force for good. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Looper videos about Marvel Comics are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.